Hi, Steve Van Zandt, owner of SVZ Performance down here in Sunrise, Florida, and today I want to talk about another really popular exercise. It's super common in the rehab world, shoulder external rotation. How many of you can relate to this? You have a shoulder issue, regardless of what it is, they prescribe this exercise. Hey, Mr. Smith or Mrs. Smith, let's do 25 of these things and we'll be back to check on you here momentarily. Many of you have done the exercise and it's a fine exercise. I want to highlight that the goal of this thing is your rotator cuff, particularly two muscles. You get your teres minor and your infraspinatus muscle. These muscles are challenged in a variety of different exercises. The true value of this particular one of the only ways that you're going to get really short contraction in those muscles, meaning that the detachment points are approximating as much as they possibly can. So the value of this is really that last bit. And if we're just kind of bouncing and showing up there, we've lost all the value of it. So, what can we do to make this more efficient? Well, first, if you see how I'm grabbing this handle, notice how my wrists can easily take over this entire exercise. So how many of you, maybe you have some grip issues, some forearm stuff, you're going through this, your forearm's burning, your hand's burning, and you don't feel anything in the area you're supposed to feel it. Well, it's a simple fix. We can bypass that altogether. So I'm gonna have James step in, and he has a wrist cuff already attached to him. We're just gonna lose the handle and attach it more proximal to his shoulder, right? So now this joint is not influenced at all, right? Now, rather than have him just show up out here, what I'm gonna need him to do is really focus on where does this joint stop rotating, right? So there's an axis through here, he's kind of pivoting around that. Pretend this bone here, this humeral bone, is like a bolt, and his forearm is a wrench on the bolt, and he's cranking the bolt to try to spin this externally. Right? Much more efficient. Now he's getting to the end range, he's owning the end, he's getting a contraction there, but there's a way I can make this even more efficient. If I were to turn James just slightly towards the arm he's working, this line of force that's represented in this band gets closer to his body. What does that mean? That means the resistance is lightening. That means the torque is reducing at the point at which it should. As he approaches his end range, internally, he's losing force production. As the muscles shorten, they lose their ability to produce force. Something called a strength profile inside. This way, he's able to really get in there and own it. Now, I'm gonna warn you now, doing it this way is gonna make it burn and it's gonna feel much more challenging, but it's gonna get much more efficient. The other common issue here, how often do you see people just kind of throw their arm out there, right? They're just kind of, elbows are leaving their bodies. Right? That's not external rotation anymore. They're abducting their shoulders, trying to show up out here. As my fingers are pressed up in the inside of his elbow, it gives him a little pivot point to kind of shove against. And notice he's in this nice pure rotation now. Nice pure external rotation. And just to be a mean guy, I'm gonna have him hold that end and only do maybe the last inch or so of the motion. These are little oscillated motions that just really hone in on that last piece of it, the real value of this exercise. Often when we try to get these bigger ranges, we blow past the goal here and we're using our shoulder blades, right? You just kind of like moving the shoulder blades and even sometimes his body, right? So we're becoming much more efficient, much more focused. Angling his body so the resistance drops off, bypassing the wrist altogether, and then him having to really focus on spinning this out here. It won't take much, but this is going to really make this exercise much more valuable.